Okay, well, why don't we get started here today? I'm Robin Husledge, and I work at the Carsey School, and I'm happy to welcome you to this evening's information session about our Master in Public Policy program. Just going to cover what we're going to talk about this evening. Our agenda, we're just going to do some brief introductions of who you will be meeting this evening. Program information about the Master in Public Policy, potential careers, and we're lucky to have a guest speaker this evening, an alumni of the program, Stephanie. We will be covering basic information about the University of New Hampshire, important information about tuition and financial aid, as well as application instructions. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them using the chat. There should be a menu bar in your Zoom window, and you just click on chat and enter them in there, and we'll answer them at different times during the presentation this evening. So we'll move on to our next slide here. From the Carsey School this evening, we have Carolyn Arcand, the program director, who will be taking you through all of the program information, myself, and our guest speaker, Stephanie Davis, who's joining us this evening, who's an MPP alum. So without further ado, I'll pass this over to Carolyn and let her talk about the Master in Public Policy program.
Thanks, Robin, and nice to see everyone. So yeah, I just want to kind of walk everyone through some information about the program and the curriculum. Basically, our students are students who have an interest in policy-relevant careers and really are interested in understanding strategic communication and policy analysis with a goal of creating change of some sort. So to move on to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the program. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, the program is essentially something that can be completed in between 12 and 16 months. So for students who are currently undergraduates at UNH, we do have an option for an accelerated master's in public policy. And this is where you can start taking courses towards the graduate degree during basically your senior year. And you can take up to 12 credits that would count towards both your undergrad and the graduate degree. And then once you get fully into that master's program, you have another 12 months to complete, you complete the program within that additional 12 months. We also have a 16-month option, and this is the option that most of our full-time students take. And so this option starts in the fall and then finishes up at the end of the following fall semester. So you can picture a full academic year, including a January term, summer courses, and then finishing up the following fall. And certainly we have options for part-time students as well. So we have students who are working full-time and who take one class a semester or two classes a semester. So we can absolutely have our advisors work with you to create a program that's going to work for you. The program does take place in person on our Durham campus, though we do have some experiential learning opportunities. One of those takes place over our January term, and that's where students travel to Washington, D.C. to take part in our Colloquium process. So this is a 3-credit course that involves going to DC and meeting with people working in policy relevant fields, from policy, working on the Hill politicians and their staff, to think tank researchers, to nonprofit executives, some across kind of the spectrum of possibilities in Washington, D.C. The students have about 20 to 25 meetings with different individuals to learn about what's possible in terms of policy careers, and also kind of make those connections between what they're learning in the classroom and what people who are doing the work are actually doing in practice. The other piece of the program that can take place off campus is our internship. There's an internship that students are required to complete, and that can take place in an organization that's a policy relevant organization either in the Durham area, or sometimes we have students who travel to DC for an internship or to Boston. More and more, we're seeing that there are options for hybrid internships that's partially in person and part online or fully online. So there's a number of different ways of doing an internship and gaining some real world experience in a policy relevant organization. So just to talk a little bit more about our curriculum, actually, it's great timing. I was just going to talk about the tracks. So we have 2 tracks that students can pursue as part of the degree. There is a core curriculum and some courses that everyone takes to get that kind of grounded understanding of fundamentals of policy analysis, economics, data analysis. And then students choose to take either a couple of courses really targeted towards strategic thinking and strategic communication, or towards more kind of research and data analysis. So we have the policy analysis track, which is more advanced research methods, or the strategy and communication track, which is just as it sounds, all about strategy and communication. So there's also at the end of the students, or towards the end of the students' degree program, they undertake a final experiential learning opportunity, which is our capstone project. And that involves designing a project either on your own with the advice of a topic matter expert and a CARSey faculty member. So you can either design your own policy-focused research project, or you can partner with an organization that's doing work in some area related to policy, and design a project with kind of under the umbrella of working with a nonprofit or a public-facing organization. So there's lots of different opportunities to apply what you're learning, both in the internship and in the capstone, and certainly to see what's possible with that DC Colloquium. And so this slide is just kind of to give you a sense for what the program could look like if you're going through as kind of a student who's right out of undergrad, or is coming back to school full time over the course of that 16-month time period. So the first fall in the program, all of our new students who are full-time take 3 core courses, and then can also take an elective or a course towards one of our tracks. The J term, the January term of the student's first year, they go to Washington, D.C. for our Colloquium course. It's a 3-week course, and one of those weeks is spent in D.C. The first spring semester in the program, students take 2 more core courses and can round out with an elective or courses towards one of the 2 tracks. And that spring semester is also when students start planning their capstone projects under the guidance of a faculty member. And then students typically either do their capstone over the summer or the following fall. And then the summer after that first year is typically when students would do an internship as well. So the planning takes place in the spring, the internship takes place in the summer. And then that second fall is when students would finish up their electives, potentially do the capstone, if not over the summer, and finish up their track courses. So it's a really great way to kind of get fully engaged in learning about the policy process and methods for policy analysis, and also be doing, gaining that experience along the way. And so these are some of our graduates that you see on this slide who are working in different policy relevant fields. So we do have graduates who go on to do research work, work for, different public-facing organizations like the state legislature, working for the federal government in a number of different areas. We have individuals who go into the nonprofit sector, who work as consultants, who go directly into politics, or who go into some type of research-related field. So lots of opportunities, and usually the internship and the colloquium are good opportunities to really get a feel for. If you don't come into the program knowing where you want to go, there's a lot of opportunities to figure out what you want to do with this degree. And then we also have students who know exactly where they want to go, and they're able to kind of use those interests to write papers about, and to design an internship that's going to get them some footing in that area that they're interested in going into. So a lot of varied opportunities there. Which brings me to speaking with one of our alums, Stephanie Davis. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. I guess so you're a recent grad in the program, and I think the first thing, I'd love it if you could kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the type of work that you're doing now.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and always excited to talk about this program. It was a great experience. But my name's Stephanie. I'm now a graduate I have a master in public policy, graduated just last year. And right now I am a research associate for American Institutes for Research. In particular, I work in the learning, translation, and quality measurement, hard to remember, but LTQM program area of our health division. So I do health policy and program research and analysis. Eventually, this was my goal coming out of the MPP program, was to be in policy research. And I'm happy to say that I am. If you're not familiar with American Institutes for Research, I can kind of give you a little blurb of what we do. American Institute for Research, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan nonprofit organization. We conduct behavioral and social science research, as well as health research. That's the division I'm in. And we deliver technical assistance to really address some of the most urgent, social, political, you name it, health issues affecting across the US, but also internationally too. Our company works internationally. I am based in the US though. And what I'm doing right now is I'm on a few different projects. A couple of them I can't talk about because we have a confidential client, but basically our company, we do contract research. And one of the projects I'm on right now, we are doing a program evaluation of a maternal home visiting program in LA County, California. And we're actually on year 8 of this project. And what it is it's evaluating a maternal home visiting program that does parent coach and home visits to mothers in LA County that qualify for the program. And we've been interviewing the participants of this program at 3 different time points. And we also did an implementation study because the program actually had to switch to virtual when COVID hit. And so we were doing an evaluation of how that virtual transition went, how it impacted outcomes for the program and for the mothers and for their children. And that's just a little snippet of one of them. So I've done everything from helping with IRB pieces to being in all of our client meetings and interacting with our client every day. And then also getting to write our reports and all of our findings, which has been really exciting. So it's just a little snippet of one of the projects I'm on. I'm on a few different ones. Another one I'm on, we are working to develop a patient-reported outcome measure, and we're working with the Center for Devices and Radiological Health within the Food and Drug Administration, within the FDA. And so we are getting close to finishing that. We're hoping to publish a manuscript on it when we finish completing the outcome measure, but it's been exciting work, and it always is something different.
Oh, that does sound exciting. I love project-based work. It's nice to have your hands
it keeps it exciting. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley, being able to do something a little bit different every day.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, when you think back to when you were kind of thinking about pursuing a graduate degree, what drew you to the Master in Public Policy at UNH?
So it was tough. I looked at a variety of different schools all around New England, to be honest with you. That's where my family is and where I'm from. I wanted to move back in the area, but, I was looking at the different programs and trying to compare and see what really, drew me, what made the most sense. One of the biggest things I liked about the MPP program was being able to design and tailor the track, that you were taking. I saw a lot of other programs that just had the core classes you got to take, and you got to do these number of electives, and that's it. What I really liked about the CARSey program, or the MPP program here at the CARSey School, was that I could pick my policy track, as Professor Arcand had just talked about, but also I could tailor it to do exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in some sort of policy research and be a policy analyst, but I wasn't sure if that was in health or education or what exactly field. So I got to narrow down. I followed the policy analysis track, but I specifically tailored to a lot of health-focused research, which was great because I got to take courses in a variety of different departments for my electives, and some of those also counted towards my core. But the other piece being that it wasn't just taking classes, it was the experiential learning. So I know we've mentioned already today the DC Colloquium, which is honestly one of my favorite experiences, the whole program, because it's so unique. There's nowhere else really that you can get an experience like that and be able to meet the different people who did. I got to go meet I was in the Department of Energy, and talking to the Secretary of Energy. How cool is that? And the other piece being, though, we had both the capstone and the colloquium, not colloquium, the capstone and the internship. The internship was great because I got to meet connections in the field. And it came from talking to all my different professors and saying, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for in my internship. You know, do you have any connections? Do you have any, who can you point me to that I could talk to? And I actually started doing informational interviews, and I ended up working and interning at the Public Health Council of the Upper Valley, in the Upper Valley of New Hampshire and Vermont. It's that right in between where the river runs. So I helped them set up and plan for a legislative breakfast that they do every 2 years. And what they try to do is bring in legislators outside of both in New Hampshire and in Vermont, and try to put them in one place because that area is very unique, and it requires a lot of collaboration between policymakers there to really address a lot of the public health issues that they're facing. So that was a really cool internship to be involved with. I ended up being able to work it remotely, which worked out really well. And partway into working that internship, I actually landed my position at AIR. So I kind of transitioned out of that one and into my position with AIR. I was a research assistant at the time. And then the other piece being the capstone I really liked because I knew I wanted to design something. I chose the design something and partner with a subject matter expert. So I partnered with Jess Carson, who oversaw my research capstone. And my goal was to design a capstone that looks at the prevalence of mental health among the US population and among adults in particular, and looking at different policy, I guess, signs for addressing some of those issues, and just giving, an organization an overview of what the challenges they're going to be dealing with in the population. I used a massive data set and got to tailor it all down to what I wanted to do in the report, and just worked with me hand in hand. Super helpful just to ask questions and design it in the way that I want. And having her guidance too, as an expert in a lot of this stuff in the field, was totally invaluable. Now I think back to it and it's like, oh, it's kind of like I had a QA reviewer, which is what we use here now at work for reviewing our reports when they're in the final stages. So it was a combo of things.
Wonderful. I guess when you think back on the program, what were kind of your most valuable takeaways from the Master in Public Policy?
I always want to jump and say the DC Colloquium, just because it's such a unique experience. But I have to say some of my biggest takeaways actually was a couple of our core classes. I'm embarrassed to admit that I had never been exposed to any economics courses until I came into the MPP program, and I absolutely loved it. It was a great course. It showed me how to make economics approachable in the policy field, and also approachable to people that may not be super economically, inclined or well versed in it. It made it in an understanding way. So that was huge to my core knowledge, but also we had a strategy. I think it was strategies for policy impact, I believe. There's two other courses that stood out. That one I think is an elective course for the strategy communication track, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. And that one was great because we got to literally look at all of the policy that's happening right now. Well, all the different, like the policy issues that are coming up, we got to argue them through, and we also got to present on some too, and different methods for addressing it. And we get to design our own policy campaign, which was very cool. And that was invaluable knowledge that I don't think I would have gotten really anywhere else. Very unique. And then the last thing I really liked, I think it was strategy and practice. So we got to talk through live issues of, policy issues that are happening, but we also got to play out being in a congressional hearing, and being able to be a witness to present, or that we were role playing as a senator that was defending a policy. And what was challenging is being able to do it for and against things that we believe in. So whether you're more conservative, you got to play on the other side of the field and learn how to try and defend those ideals. And it really helped my insight into seeing both sides of issues, and being able to really address them more in my research. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to hear about the work you're doing now. And thank you for sharing on your experiences with the program. We appreciate it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think there is a question that came through in the chat too.
Let's see.
Yes. It's asking about the policy internship. And the question is whether the department assists students with placements in organizations or students can do that by themselves.
Yeah, so both. So sometimes students have an organization in mind that they really want to work with and they already have a connection. And we also have, connections with different organizations and we post internship opportunities. And certainly if you're looking in a specific area, we can kind of ask around in terms of our connections in that area to try to find a good placement for a student's internship.
That's what worked for me. I can vouch for that.
Nice.
That's what I did, and through the connections of the professors at the Carsey School, that's how I got mine.
That's great. Are there any other questions or questions for Stephanie in particular? I'm checking there's also a Q&A box. I don't see any here, but okay.
Great.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. That was really so great to see you again and hear about all the great work that you're doing and what you enjoyed most about the Master in Public Policy program. That's awesome.
It's making me wish I could go back and enjoy it again, though. Thinking of all the good stuff. I know it's hard when you're pushing through your papers and things like that. And, of course, there's times when you're in school that it's not always the easiest. But honestly, overall, it was such an enjoyable experience. And I'm glad I chose this program. I hope you all do too.
That's so great. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're gonna switch gears a little bit here and take a step back and look at sort of the University of New Hampshire and what sort of life on campus is like a bit. So first off, there's a picture of actually Thompson Hall, which is where the graduate school is located there, and our beautiful campus, which in my experience and from talking with other students, UNH has all the amenities of a large university, but in a very small and intimate environment, very walkable. Scooters and bikes are rampant all over campus. It's just a very sustainable, environmentally friendly campus, and it's very easy to meet other people with similar interests. We are also an R1 research institution, which is the top ranking. You can't get any higher than that. And there's only about 40 universities in the United States that have achieved that status, which is pretty cool. We also offer very small class sizes, again, big enough to have vibrant discussions, but small enough that you get to know all of your fellow classmates very well. Our faculty are also scholars and practitioners, a mix of both. So you get both the scholarly input, but also people that are out in the field doing the work, and they bring that experience to the classroom. We are a learning community with an emphasis on theory, but really the practice end of it, understanding the theory and how do you apply that in the real world. A little bit about the Carsey School. As Stephanie mentioned, she did her capstone project with Jess Carson, who is in one of our research areas. So we comprise a research arm. We also have centers, such as the Center for Impact Finance, centers for New Hampshire Listens, which is all about community engagement, as well as advocacy. And of course, the foundation of our the Carsey School is our academic programs. What do you get as a student in terms of support? You have a graduate academic advisor, Sanjeev Sharma, who works with all of our students, sits down with them and figures out what classes make sense for them every semester, and also other courses that are available throughout the university that you may want to take, and he helps facilitate your finding the right courses for you and ensuring that you can take those courses outside of the Carsey School. We also have the UNH on line, success team, as well as the Carsey success team. IT services, the 1-800 help desk at the University of New Hampshire is fabulous. Any issues that you have with software, hardware, any of those, whether it's just really whatever issues you encounter, call them and they will help you figure that out. We also have extensive library resources, which they help you with research. They give you, there's tools that are available to help you conduct your research. And they also have the online writing lab where you can submit papers, or also they have within the library, they have the center there where you can take your papers in and sit down with somebody and they can help you review your papers and give you guidance. We also have career and professional success. They'll help you with your resume, with practicing, your interview techniques, and also helping you to find jobs, internships, and the like. So lots of support there. So tuition and fees. Most of our courses, with the exception of one in the MPP program, are all 3-credit courses. And these are the per credit costs for in-state and out-of-state students. We also have a wide variety of financial aid options for our students. We have education awards with partners such as Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, Semester in the City. The list goes on. There are many. City Year is another one. We also offer partial tuition Carsey scholarships, which are generally needs-based scholarships. They range typically from $4,000 to $8,000. Unique with the MPP program is our MPP fellowships, which are opportunities within departments throughout UNH that offer very policy-oriented work experiences. So not only are you learning about public policy issues within your program, but you're also working and applying them in the context of a fellowship, while also earning $6,500 per term over 2 terms, so a total award of $13,000. And of course, you are also welcome to apply for federal financial aid. If you get a designation of like work study, if you qualify for work study, we're always looking for awesome work study students at the Carsey School. So application requirements, all applications are conducted online. There's a $65 application fee. 3 letters of recommendation are required, professional or they can be education, or if you're working and you have recommendations from your place of employment. College transcripts from any college or university that you attended for 2 or more semesters are needed. When you apply, you can use your personal copies to upload for evaluation once you're admitted. And before enrollment, they require you to have the official transcripts transferred directly from those universities to UNH. Probably one of the most important aspects of your application is your personal statement, which is really, we want to understand who you are as a person, why you want to pursue this degree, what you hope to get out of the program, and what you hope to contribute to the program. 1-2 pages max is all that they're looking for there. They just want to understand who you are as a person. And also a current resume, so we can see what your work history has been like, or your internship or volunteer experiences. The GRE is not required, and if you're an international student, we do require English language proficiency tests. But if you did your prior education was in English, then you can petition for a waiver of that requirement. We're now accepting applications for this coming fall, and our application deadline is August 1st, although I encourage you to apply sooner than later. We are posting our MPP fellowship opportunities, which are only available to our accepted students. So again, the whole, and also applying for scholarships and that sort of thing. Or if you're an international student, it takes time to work through all the paperwork that needs to be done for that as well. I'm here to answer any questions or to connect you with faculty, with Carolyn, with alums, current students, happy to help. And I'm also joined with my colleague and Kimball, who is also available to meet with you and point you in the right direction. So we're open now for any other questions. And if you'd like to speak, we can ask you to unmute. So.
And there was one question in the chat about if we offer research or teaching assistantships.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a great question. So a lot of our fellowship opportunities have a research component to them. So we don't typically offer specific research or teaching assistantships, but that is rolled into the fellowship. And I think occasionally we do offer kind of hourly work opportunities, but it's not typically like a teaching assistant type of thing. But sometimes we do have opportunities to like assist a professor with the class. We have one of those coming up for this fall, and it's kind of an hourly thing.
Great, thanks. Great question. And if you want to raise your hand, if you want to ask a question, we can work on unmuting you. So, and Stephanie's still here, so you can ask her questions, or Carolyn as well.
I will share that I was also one of the MPP fellows, and while I was in the program, I did the New Hampshire Listens Fellowship. And on top of that, I also worked alongside one of the professors in those hourly roles, doing a little bit of research on the side, which was a great experience to be able to experience. So if you have any questions on those too.
Okay, well, I don't see anyone unmuting themselves, so I assume we've answered all the questions that that anyone has. And don't hesitate to reach out to me or Anne after this is over. We're happy to answer questions as they pop up during this whole process. So reach out and we're happy to answer any questions you have.